Alright, so today we're going to adjust the vacuum on the Charger. So what I wanted to do first was go drive the car and warm it up. You're supposed to warm it up so it's not on the choke anymore. So I want to show you my vacuum gauge. This is my vacuum gauge, so I can plug it in. This is right off of eBay. So this is my kit. You just look for fuel pump and vacuum gauge tester. Get off eBay. I think I paid like $16 for this kit with Amazon Prime free shipping. So I mean, really cheap, but it's a really nice gauge. Check it out. It's even got a rubberized cover on it. So good to go. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do now, see if they got some adapters in here where I can tee it in. Looks like they do. And I'm gonna tee it in and put it on the Charger. Now, one thing to keep in mind, I gotta pop the hood, pull the air cleaner off. Check your idle. So right now, my idle in park, I'm sitting about, if I had to guess, that looks about 950 RPM there. So what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna adjust the main idle screw down, because it really shouldn't be more than about 800 or 850 with an automatic car. So I'm actually gonna drop that down a little bit, put it about 850, 900 to start off with, and then adjust the idle air mixture screws and try to get the most vacuum reading I can on here, and we'll go from there. Right off the bat, I've got about 21 and a half pounds of vacuum. Now we're going to turn the idle down a little bit here. Turn this screw here counterclockwise. And we turn that counterclockwise. Now you'll see we're down to about, if we believe that, that's about 900, just under 900. Okay. So let's turn it down another smidge. There. Let's see what that looks like. That looks like about 850. If we're going right by that. Now, before we get too far, we want to make sure we put it in gear, it doesn't choke off. So in gear, it's about 600 if you go by that. Okay. And it's about 800. Alright, so just for good measure, I'm going to turn it up a hair. So about right there. Alright, now we'll recheck our vacuum here. So now it looks like our vacuum is about 21 pounds of vacuum. Okay. Now what we're going to look for here is right on the bottom of the carb, there's a set screw here and there's one on the other side. So there's one down here, and there's one right here. So what I gotta do is, they recommend you check where they are, but you turn them all the way in, and then you turn them out about 1.5 to 2 turns for your kind of your baseline. That's to make sure they're even on both sides. So I'm gonna actually check mine and see where they're at now. All right, mine was 2 turns out. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it back out 2 turns and a half, 1 and a half there. And so crank it back up and see where that one is. While I got it off, I'll go ahead and check this side. So let's see here. There you go. I got the max vacuum I could get with the idle turned down. I still got the same amount of vacuum, but I got it from popping. So that's how you set it. You get the max vacuum on the gauge. So as I would adjust it, I could see this actually start to go down. So I would turn it again until it started going back up. And when I started not seeing any adjustment at all, I went back the other way about a quarter of a turn, and that's where I left it. So now what I did, I think I told you in my previous video, because I knew it was lean with the new ignition, it was so hot, I had to put the ballast resistor back in it to knock the voltage down to the distributor. And when I did that, it wouldn't pop as much, wasn't lean. So now today, just because I adjusted the carb, I took the ballast resistor out, I put a jumper in it. Now it's getting the full voltage to the distributor and the coil. So let me show you what it looks like. It's right here. Now I put the jumper in here. Instead of going here, it's now going directly here to the ignition module, to the coil and all. So now I'm getting full voltage. Now you're talking at least 1 more volt going to the distributor. So now it's a hotter spark. So now if the carb adjusted, it's not popping lean anymore like it was. So I know that's fixed. And all I did was basically roll the adjusting screws out. So what started out, the passenger side screw was about 1.5 turns out, and the driver's side screw was only a little over 1 turn out. So they were not adjusted the same. So that's why you always have to start off, make sure they're the same. So I adjusted them both out about 1 turn to 1.5 turns to see where that was, and it was really lean and popping. So then I adjust them all the way out to 2 turns out, and that's where the car liked it. I tried to go a little bit more and the vacuum started to decrease, so I ran them back in. So right now they're roughly right about 2 turns all the way out from being in, and the car seems to run great. So that's just a quick tip if you're trying to adjust your vacuum. You're trying to get the highest level of vacuum and get the car where it runs right. But you will have to adjust your base idle. So you saw me adjust mine. Mine was high after the car was hot. You notice it's not on the choke, it was hot. And I'll show you where I pulled my vacuum from. You want a constant source of vacuum, so I pulled right here off the back of the carb. So see, I just teed in here to my gauge and teed in here, and I actually used the vacuum that goes to the choke. So it was a bigger source and it's constant, so that way my gauge worked. But yeah, so it's pretty simple. Compared to working on these Mustangs and fuel injection and turbos and superchargers and all, that's a really simple tip. So enjoy.